Alright, let's move on to fine-tuning. The first thing I want to go change is what's happening here, right? I don't want them to be separating all the way to here, maybe a little bit, ends. The separation should end maybe around here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the guide and go to Attribute Editor and start painting my region knife one more time. Oh, sorry, not there actually, the region mask here, this guy. If I can, oops, yeah, and I can go ahead and just draw something here, right, to tell it, okay, I want it to be happening all the way to here. Alright, so now they're all going back together on that area. I can press the Q button to quit, and now I have a slightly different result. Now one of the lines are going that way, which I don't like it to go. Maybe I want it to be going more towards this direction, and I'm losing some volume here, right? A lot of things I can tweak here, but I sometimes you don't really have to go and fix a lot of things until they're quite okay. Sometimes you can get away with it by doing other things, but just in case, I'm gonna do some changes here, just to try to achieve the cleanest result I can get. I'm gonna add a new sculpt layer. I'm gonna call it fix, and here I'm gonna use my freeze brush and only freeze this guy here. I'm gonna use my comb again just to bring this guy over to here. Oops, don't really want to change that guy. I'll freeze that. Oops. And I can use my comb again to bring this guy back to maybe the middle. And bring it up back, just to avoid that clipping to the face. Okay, so I'm happy with that now, and maybe I can go freeze and unfreeze that guy. So the hairs are now falling into a proper place, and I can probably go ahead and do some more tweaking on something else, like the general shape here. Maybe I don't like that contour, maybe there are more things that I want to tweak, but I don't want to work on this guideline anymore because they're already doing their job, and they're doing a pretty good job on separating the regions and positioning the hair for me. But what I really want to do now is exclusive control on every little hair that I have to really control their shape. Let me go ahead and do that by creating a new modifier and new sculpt. Okay, I'm gonna call it shape refine sculpt, and here I'm gonna turn on this layer to start editing it, and I don't really need to see the guide anymore, so turn off that. I can use my comb brush again and make sure that I don't have that invert frozen effect, so that I can go ahead and just drag those things up to fix the contour here that I don't really like. Alright, maybe a few dragging here too. So now I'm basically refining the shape of my hair now. Okay, maybe I like it to be more like this, and I don't like that. Maybe just push that guy in. Just trying to get a better contour here. Oops. So I'm still focusing on the global shape, right? The silhouette of the hair I'm getting here, because that's almost the most important thing, and other details later on can be added really gradually. But if the bigger shape is wrong, those little details may not really help that much to bring up the quality anyways. So And when I rotate to this angle, I see this guy is like going up too much, right? And these guys are going in too much. Those are all the things that I can see that need fixing. Okay, let me keep that guy up. I don't really need this guy to go up that much. Maybe just push it inwards. I'm getting some wavy-like shape here. Now, unfortunately, I don't think there's anything that can smooth things. There's a smooth brush, but if I do that, it's gonna do something a little weird like that. So I don't really want that. So let me Control Z, go back a few steps before I do those tweaking. Maybe I can retry the tweaking differently this time. Here I see that, you know, big shadow there. That means this guy should go down. Maybe I can go back and take a look at why it's doing that. Maybe it's because of some of the guide is not doing pretty well. Maybe this guy. So I'm gonna try to do that. Make sure that I'm on this layer here, and I can maybe go ahead and mask this guide and use the comb brush and just use the invert frozen so I can turn this guy back to bring some of the volume on this guy backwards. Okay. For the other guy, maybe I want to move it over more, so let me go to freeze and unfreeze that and freeze this guy, but not anything inside. Okay, and then go comb again, and I'm gonna comb this guy backwards. You know, a lot of tweaks that I can go ahead and try to do. Just trying to bring my, make my grooming do a better job. Okay, and these guys, I guess it's because of the push of this line, right? Let me use the freeze and unfreeze those two and get this guy here. I'm gonna go for the comb again, and I'm gonna comb it forward. And drag that down. Alright, just trying to make it better. But those are the things you can do to try to make it better, but it's never gonna be perfect because there are just so many hairs, and trying to do everything manually may take a lot of time and maybe not giving you a very good result. So I'm just gonna maybe go ahead and just use my comb brush again. Maybe this grab brush at this time. It's gonna grab things up and maybe push some of these areas down that is going down too much and drag them back a little bit. Okay, and maybe refine the contour of this hair. But to really break this really parallel and generic feeling of the hair, there are actually another way that we can use, which is again the modifiers. I'm hoping I'm not doing too much distortion here. Did I? So that's before and after. I just did a lot of changing to try to make the shape better. Don't really like what's happening there actually. Drag that down. Okay, and here I guess I pushed it in somehow. Squeeze that in. Okay. Alright, so let's say this is good enough, right? I'm not gonna bother too much over there now, although it's gonna look like a little weird here. And if I really wanted to, I can. It's just I don't want to try to, you know, bother too much detail over here, but I can of course just mask that area and use comb, invert that mask result, right? And just bring this guy down again. It should be on the outside maybe. It's just too tedious to do it this way. Alright, let me show you some other things that you can do instead of trying to comb everything yourself. So the idea here is that we use again more you know, modifiers. Let me use freeze and unfreeze that, and I'm gonna go ahead and add more modifiers. I can add a lot of modifiers, like I can do one more thing here called noise, right, to break things up more. And let me go to the settings here, and I can change the frequency a little bit higher and the magnitude. Maybe that's too high. I just need a little there. Okay, and I also wanted to use this to help me to break up the bottom, but you see the bottom is not actually having that much of a noise. The reason being is because this magnitude is being multiplied by this curve. So if I crank that up, it's going to help me to blend the bottom a little bit better. Okay, yeah, the root a little bit better. And another thing I can go for is my hair base. I can change the CV count to something even higher, like you know, 40, and rebuild. That's gonna give me a more smooth result on my hair root. Okay, and then after that, I can also try to give it more clumping at this time, and just make sure that that clumping will also again following the region map I'm doing here in the node editor. And I can do that by find out the new clump I'm having, which is probably not in the list. Let me go just grab this guy here, the clump here, select and add it in, and that's gonna be the guy. And for this guy here, I'm gonna go ahead and also check on use control maps and drag the same map I'm using to control the custom map. Okay, that's gonna help me to do that. And I can then do some tweaking, like to this clump, right? I can maybe first of all check on the column, the clump volume rise, so it's gonna maintain the volume. The variance will push things in and out, right? If you want to have some weird effect like this. I don't really want that, so push it back. Okay, and I can probably also just lower down the clumping effect a little bit. I'm not sure my cut is doing enough here now. Maybe I can have a new cut. Anyway, I'm just now gonna try to do some clumping changes here. So maybe I can do the random. Doesn't do too much, but I can, you know, drag that to have different kind of random. And for the clump, I can also change, like I'm having a lot of smaller clumps, and maybe that's not what I want, right? Maybe I can have bigger clumps or smaller clumps depending on, you know, where I wanted to go from here. So I may need to go ahead and choose to, I'm not sure what's that. Maybe I need to, you know, sculpt this guy back. Maybe that's because of my guide, I guess. I can go ahead and fix that later. But for now, I can do some more, you know, changing to this clump. Like what if I can change the density lower so that I'm having bigger clumps, right? And whatever you wanted to try. And let me go back to the variance and maybe change that. yeah, I kind of like that volume rise, and maybe not go all the way in. Right, not doing that much. Okay, so now I have a different kind of clumping to break up the hair, just to give it more, you know, natural looking. And I can also go ahead and do more cut here, right? I can probably also just drag that cut all the way to the top, so that it's cutting here, right? So I don't have to do that cut one more time if I want to just go ahead and cut it again, right? And maybe I want to do some more, you know, refining. Like maybe I want to have like some of the hair strands to, you know, go maybe shaped a little differently. I can now go do those changes after I have applied those variations. Oh, let me just spend some more time. Try to do some more of the variations I think are really interesting, are really needed. Like that noise, I can create a very small noise, a very small frequency noise, but very big magnitude. So that's actually gonna blend the hair better for me. Okay, and I can, if I wanted to, I can create another noise to have smaller noises if I wanted to. And oftentimes I can also try to have lesser noise at the end, right? So that my end is gonna look sharper if I want that effect, right? A lot of things, again, you can do. And I want to fix that. That's very easy. Just go to the sculpt layer, right? Let me create a new layer. I'm gonna call this guy fix. And I can go, oh, just making sure that that's not being caused by the other ones. Yeah, it is not. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my freeze brush and freeze those guys that I think that are going wrong, and unfreeze these guys that are okay. And I'm gonna go use my comb again and make sure that this one is on, right? So I can maybe tweak this part to fix it. Okay. Alright. So I'm gonna keep using this method actually to start fine-tuning the hair shape. For example, I want to have this guy maybe having some nice arc or refine the contour of this guy. I can do it. What I can do is use the freeze, right? Unfreeze the back part I just fixed, and maybe freeze this guy here in the front, depending on how much I want to do here. Right, and I can go use my comb brush, and I can actually go here and again check off that visibility of the show frozen, so I can actually see the shape that I'm doing here. I can now go here and do some changes of the contour of, you know, this part of the hair, maybe just to make it go in, to make some interesting changes. Maybe not going in too much. Alright, can do the same thing here. I can make this hair go the other direction. Again, it's very easy. Just go freeze, right? Unfreeze that and freeze this part that you want to tweak. Make sure you're not freezing others. Just go back to the comb brush again, and you can comb that part without affecting others. Maybe I can actually bring this strand forward, just to make it separate from other parts, so that I can do something interesting here. We could go inwards. Okay. if I don't want that much noise here, I can actually create yet another sculpt here, right? And on this sculpt, because it's living outside of the or on top of the noise, if I drag it now, I can make it, you know, more straight, right, if that makes sense. So now I have, you know, yet another variation here that I can create to the hair, right? And maybe I can go ahead and do more on the side. Maybe I can have some of the hairs, you know, just gradually go out instead of all going down like that. So I can go again back here to the fix layer. Let me add one more refining. It's always better to create new layers so that you won't destroy the things you were having before. And here I'm gonna use freeze and unfreeze that. Maybe just freeze something here, right? And I can, oh, I don't have any smaller here there though. So what I can do is actually go ahead and cut this part, some part in the middle, right? These guys. I can use this cut brush and I can cut that. Oops, I think I'm cutting others too. Oh, because I was like having this invert. Oh, invert is on. Oh, because the cutting is actually gonna also be affected by the others, so I'm gonna go ahead and go here. That's where I can cut these ones, right? Just cut these ones a little bit, and I can go here and go back here actually, and I can bring them out by using my combing. Just bring those guys out. Oh, I should actually done that on the new layer I created. Over here, let me create a new layer here, and then I can drag that out. So if I wanted to have something a little different on the side, right, just some, you know, random variations on the side, I can do that now with, you know, my other brushes, right? I can bring a little chunk coming out like that. I can use my noise to give it a little bit noise. Oops, not there. Actually, on this guy here, so it's gonna be the inverse here, right? To add some noise here, just to break this guy up. Maybe too much. Yeah, just a little bit here on the tip. All right, and I can use comb again, just to comb it a little bit more, right? Okay, so I can keep adding those smaller details if I want to you know, make my groom look more attractive, if possible. And yeah, maybe I can have some interesting things happening here. I can have some hair like actually going and curling around to the edge of the face, if that's possible. So what I can do is go freeze brush again, and I can do that on this refining layer, so that I can maintain those noise. I can choose a little bit of the hair on the inside, and let me cut out the other guys here that I don't really want to affect. Just these guys maybe. And I'm gonna go for the cut again. I'm gonna go back here to this layer so that I can cut this in. Alright, and then I can use the comb brush, go to this layer, and then comb that part inwards so that it's going in like this, right? So just to have some more detail. So this is the detailing part of the, you know, the grooming, right? I'm a little tired. I go to noise here, and then just give it a little noise, right? Okay, just a little bit more maybe, and maybe comb it back a little bit. I'm not sure where should I go here. I'm just trying to design it now. Maybe over there is a good choice. Okay. And I don't like the intersection here, right? This guy is like kind of like overlapping there, so I can do that fixing maybe on this layer. Right, let me go use my freeze, unfreeze that. I'm gonna just freeze this part a little bit. Right, I'm gonna go for the comb again. Right, just comb these guys out a little bit, maybe back here, so that they're not doing that much of a overlapping in the front. Okay, and maybe I can go freeze brush again, defreeze those guys, maybe just freeze this guy a little bit and unfreeze that so that I can maybe use the comb to reposition this where this shape starts, or really refine the contour of this part of the hair. Right, oops, I don't want to destroy that little detail I did. Control Z a few steps. Right, so just wanted to drag this guy over. Maybe I can just bring these guys back. Nope, it's not that easy. Anyway, I can go ahead and refine this part. So this is gonna take a long time, but this is actually the most enjoyable part because you're really doing a lot of designing here now, and that's actually the happy part when I'm doing grooming. So let me go ahead and use my freeze, right? To freeze these guys and unfreeze these, and go to this layer. And I can use my comb brush and just comb these guys inwards a little bit more. Okay. Alright, so this is gonna be, you know, a lot of tweaking here and there. I'm gonna actually stop here. And maybe in the next tutorial we're actually going to talk about some of the, you know, material and lighting or rendering parts, so that we can you know, also learn how to change the color of the hair and do some, you know, other things in the rendering part. Okay, so see you next time.